Welcome back to another episode of the Weekly DLC. I'm one of your hosts, Kurosh, joined always by my co-hosts, Daniel Vargas
Oogly boogly.
and Daniel Chang. If you're not familiar with what we do, we come to you each and every week on Mondays to podcasting services of your choice. And we sit around a table, we have some fun discussions, usually nerdy in nature. We got to talk about books, movies, games, comics, everything in between, culturally relevant stuff, you name it. We usually kind of tangentially talk about it, possibly, maybe. And with that, this is episode 106. We've passed the 2-year mark.
Power 106.
A.
A.
B.
C.
That's all, folks. Let's get into the topics.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Mr. Jang,
Oh,
please.
so this comes up a lot in Joe Rogan's podcast, AI, the dangers of AI.
You ever had mushrooms?
So there's a legitimate fear that AI will maybe control us, but before that happens, currently, like AI is really good at automation, taking over jobs. It's not just what I found out was it's just not just blue collar jobs. It's actually white collar jobs as well. AI is really good at reading contracts, like law stuff, law work.
There's like editorial stuff.
So if it comes a time where AI takes over, like self-driving cars, takes over a lot of jobs, there's going to be a lot of people without jobs. Should the government incorporate a universal basic income for people?
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of other countries, from what I was reading up after you mentioned the topic to us in chat, which fans can do in our social media and our emails.
In the DMs.
In the DMs. But yeah, I was reading into it. And I was just reading like what's going on. Is this already being adopted elsewhere? Has this been brought up in the past? And the answer is yes, it has been brought up in the past, and yes, it has been incorporated in a lot of European countries with some success. Obviously, it's still new, so challenges of like how much do you give? How often do you give it? What constitutes like? How do you qualify? At what age, and all the intricacies of it. But like the idea of it is, with those things being automated, it's in hopes of like providing a means to like you don't have to worry about surviving. You have enough to live, but now you can pursue something you didn't have a chance to, or I don't know. I thought there was some interesting. I think it's definitely like a change, possibly for the better. If anything, like I think the current trajectory of what you're saying, if you have no solution, what is the alternative? That's my thought. What do you think, Sparks?
That's a no for me, dog. No, I'm just kidding.
What do you?
What's up, Randy?
For Randy, have your Coke.
No, I do think even now we should have universal basic income. The only thing is, I'm also a firm believer. Like, I don't think everyone deserves it. I think there are people that are always in a, just cheat the system. They'll be, they just won't do anything benefiting society, and not even like in a big manner, but they just won't do anything for themselves. They'll just sit around all day. And I think like, there are people like that just wouldn't deserve something like this. I feel like there's a threshold. There's something you have to do. There's like requirements you have to meet, obviously, to get this. That's something that
this might get it. Again, I don't know where this would fall into territory-wise of like, some people will be like, oh, this is socialist or this is communist and all these things. And I think something maybe you could address with what you're saying, your concern is provide the income to the person, but how they choose to pay, like if they choose to spend that on crack or cocaine or whatever, instead of paying their rent, which they can afford in somewhere in the area that they currently reside, then they should get a strike or something, some penalty.
Yeah.
And after, let's say, 1 or 2 strikes, then it's like, okay, we're reducing your amount or we're cutting you off. Like, sorry, we gave you a shot. Like, it was available to you. And you let other things get in the way.
And then I guess at this point I'm just speculating how this works, but I do think we should have universal basic income. Another thing is, I don't know how it would work is like when it comes to different states, it's more expensive or less expensive depending on the state. You know, like California is one of the more expensive states, whereas like Arizona would be a less costing. So would the basic price or like
The universal.
that income be
Yeah.
the same?
I don't think so. I mean, I think the question I had, which is related to yours, is where does the money come from? Like, how does it provided? Is it through taxes? Because I mean,
Probably,
but
but from who?
yeah, because I feel like it's just
At some point, everyone's going to be on the basic income.
Paying themselves.
Yeah, you're just like tax go in, tax comes out. It's just like it keeps circle going. But I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm okay with like the CEO the president, the CEO of Activision can definitely pay for my stuff right now. I can tell you that. But
Well, I was looking into that. I guess he got like 1 million like actual cash, like a check written or whatever.
he got more than $1 million.
And then the other 14 million or like 17 million is all through stocks and stuff. So it's like, I guess he has to just sell it to actually get the money or whatever.
Still. Anyway, but how they get the money, I don't know. I didn't look into how other countries set that up, but that would be a question I have. But I would think that it would adjust per region of like what the living costs are in that region. Like we look right now, like the average cost of living in Southern California is, X amount, or to be middle class in this region, it varies. And so there's enough data points out there to guess, but I would guess that whoever's setting this up would try to go for the minimum bar, and like the current minimum bars we have for like minimum wage and stuff, are they really like minimum wage? Are they acceptable?
Yeah.
I don't think so in a lot of places. So like, I'm sure we're gonna get screwed if even if this gets set up in some areas. So, but I think what it could offer is opportunity to be like, okay, that's one source of income. So now it's up to you to make up the difference elsewhere. And that's through creative endeavors or through just to a chance to explore. But like I was looking at, you were mentioning, it's not just blue collar jobs. I didn't realize how much of the workforce in a lot of America is truck drivers. And that is like one easy one: mail delivery, truck driving, fast food. And
Did you get this from MKBHD?
no, actually, I watched that later, but
Okay.
this was an infographic of like a bunch of great data points of like which countries are utilizing it, what success are they using it, what people in history have brought this up before. Martin Luther King and several people way before him have even brought it up. So one of the talking points was the main percentage of jobs that would get replaced by automation.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just, some of those things blew my mind, but I'm like, a truck driver, at what, like most of them, I don't know what the age group is, but I would wonder, do they even have like the energy or the capacity to try to like explore something that would be meaningful or that would challenge them in that way? I don't know. Like,
All I know is that truck driving can be automated.
yeah, no, what I'm saying is like if that trucker driver no longer had like
Had a
his
job.
job has got replaced, he has a basic income, but now he's trying to figure something else out.
Yeah.
Or she. But he's like 55 years old. He's physically maybe like limited in some ways, possibly. I don't know. I'm just throwing in hypotheticals.
Yeah.
And what can he even do? Like, what could he pursue? Like, if school is too late for him, he's not catching up.
I feel like it'd be hobbies.
Extreme truck driving simulator.
No, not just high. I'm saying like another form of income or another career path.
Gotcha.
Like, what could he teach himself from scratch at that point? Is what I'm saying.
Extreme truck driving simulator.
Drone photography.
Take it virtual. VR. I don't know. What'd you think? On
If it displaces jobs, I'm for it. But let me throw a question at you. Let's say they came up with the system, universal basic income. You can sign up for it, but it's obviously not going to be as much as how much you make right now.
Hunger Games.
Would you do it? Would you accept it and do what you want to do?
I think it would depend on how much they cover. Like, if my rent is covered,
Okay.
let's say my rent, my utilities,
food.
and some basic, like, I'm not getting unlimited data plan, and I'm not getting Google Fiber maybe, but like, you got this minimum internet, you have basic necessities covered, groceries covered. I'd consider it for sure. I'd have to like run the numbers and be like, what would that lifestyle look like? And because I could definitely do without commuting 60 miles a day. Like that is a big like I don't even know what that life is like to me right now. And like I don't know.
Okay, so what if
I would consider it.
two situations? That universal basic income, you don't have to work and commute, or self-driving car. It takes you there.
I'd do that.
Self-driving car?
I think so. I'd want to try that first just because I'd be playing Switch for an hour one way. I don't know. What do you think, Marcus?
I think, well, the thing is, so I'm like almost the opposite of you.
Yeah, no commute.
Yeah, no commute. Like it's like a 5-minute drive. I can blink and I'm already past my work. And then, so I don't like necessarily a driving car.
Yeah.
And then the basic income is very similar, you know, like as long as it's covering the rent,
Which is the goal of this?
specifically only internet for me. And then, obviously food. And like, you know, I'm not talking about like, I can go, you know, gourmet meal every day. You
Just
know,
like this is an average grocery
yeah,
cost.
yeah. I would totally take the basic income.
Yeah, I would really like. I would honestly like thinking of that. I'd be like, what could I pursue? Like, I was gonna ask you guys this: if you did it, what would you pursue?
Oh, I'm already doing it.
Yeah, I would want to do some creative endeavors and see what I could like figure out. But I feel like the eventual shift is that market might get saturated. Like Twitch, you get like a certain channel of Twitch, it's saturated. There's just so many people doing that. So figuring out what could work for you and what could be sustainable and all that stuff, I think is where the niche or the challenge comes. But I would love to explore that without the worry of because that like how many people's dreams have been hindered because they're like you need to provide, and that's the argument you've had. And I feel like this could be, I mean, ideally the solution to that is, or at least a measure to go toward to solving that, so that people could think in that sense of like, I want to innovate, I want to entertain, I want to, creative pursuits. Because I don't think automation is ever going to touch those areas. I don't know. Like as much as you could procedurally generate a video game, I think there's still some artistic vision that a human needs to prepare. So I don't know. I feel like that area, that industry or whatever you want to call it, is guarded. It's a good, like I need to look into more of the details because I'm really curious how it's funded. In America, I think is going to be tough because I'm like, only thing I can think of is like it takes from the top 1%, and I'm like they're going to fight tooth and claw for that, and they're not going to make it work because they stockholders and all this shit. So yeah,
Definitely.
Next topic.
Next.
Oh, okay.
Let's go.
My topic. Yeah, forgot. Okay, so I watched Genesis 6, I believe. It was a Smash tournament the same night as Super Bowl 2 weeks ago? Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Which is insane
What?
for someone to just put something up at the same time the Super Bowl's going on.
I mean, it fucking...
There's always an audience.
Yeah, and the way Super Bowl was doing, didn't really have much competition. Granted, the finals of it were like 9 p.m., 10 p.m. It wasn't really competing.
much
Like
later.
all the prelim stuff was in the day, so it's like whatever. I don't need to see that. Like unless I'm really invested.
Yeah.
But I watched it and I was just seeing something I don't normally see in a Smash tournament, which was variety in characters. I saw Olimar, I saw Pikachu, I saw Pichu, I saw what's the girl's name from Fire Emblem?
No, Mario.
Korith?
Oh yeah, Korra.
Oh, yeah.
Corinth? I don't know. She's like a female Marth.
Yeah.
And a few other characters I've never seen before in top level Smash tournaments, and I was blown away. I was like, this is refreshing because I saw matchups I'd never thought I'd like see how they play out. I'm so used to seeing like a Bayonetta, a Fox.
Because the meta's still not formed
Well,
yet.
that's where my thoughts started
Yeah.
processing of like, I want to talk to you guys about like the idea of tier lists, and do you feel like it could help? Like, what are your general thoughts on them? And also, do you think they help a community? Do you think they hurt a community? Or do you think they help or hurt a game and its I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't think it hurts a game. I think it does hurt a community wise. Like it hurts individual players because they'll be like, I want to not be handicapped. I want to be able to play to a full potential that I possibly can. And when you look at a tier list, it's like I want the high rank tier list. Like that's where I don't get handicapped. But I mean, me coming as a player, I love a challenge. I love, like it makes me not want to choose from the top. It makes me want to choose from like the middle or the bottom even, depending on how confident I am in my ability. And to show people like this list isn't necessary. It's just like
You want to break that list. That's like you want to troubleshoot it.
Yeah. Like I want to let people know that it's not necessary to follow this list, but I'm okay with the list existing. Like it lets people know, like, hey, these are better off than these individuals.
Okay.
But you do require a little more skill with these ones. Like just so you can match that level.
Okay. Jang, what do you think?
I think it hurts both players, watchers, community.
Please extrapolate.
Evo, was it 2 years ago or a year ago?
Last year?
Bayonettas.
Yeah. They
And
just
it was bad to even watch. It was bad for the people involved. And I mean, like I do agree with Vargas that you can use skill to beat the tier list, but when you're playing high level, like you gotta work way more harder.
Extra, yeah.
And it's just, and if there's big money on the line, you don't want to work hard.
No whammies.
You want to win, and so it's gonna be boring for everyone. That's just my take.
I think it's interesting because in terms of helping and hurting, I think it depends on what kind of players are playing. So like you saying, it helps you because you want to break that. You want to spice it up, be like, okay, I'm going to come at this. I'm confident in my ability to play and try and test this tier list or put it to its measure. But I feel like that could also be like to someone not as like enthralled as you, they could be like, I'm going to play as a character I like. I like Pokemon Trainer or I like Blanca, but I don't know if they're good, if they're top tier. Let's say they're low tier. And then they just keep getting losing. And they're like, I don't want to play this game anymore. Like, this sucks. Like, everyone just beats me with these, like, this guy just spams something and I can't beat him.
Yeah.
And that could be a discouraging thing as well. So but then on the flip side, like, if you look at a high tier, is people are just like, okay, you want to get better, play high tier. That might encourage them to be like, okay, now I can focus on my skill with this character and really start to be motivated to progress within this game and delve into it and maybe one day try what you're saying.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, I see the other side of it being like everyone's playing Fox, everyone's playing Bayonetta. It's like boring. And you feel pressured into something you like, I want to play this, but I have to play this if I want to win. So what's the point of even playing at that point?
Yeah, you'll feel like you lose a chance because you're playing something that's handicapped essentially.
Yeah, but I understand. Like I was fighting it, and I was like, what it boils down to is in the competitive top tier, like the 1% or the 5%, their level of skill is just so equally matched that the more you deviate or the more risks you include in your potential to win, the more chances you have of losing. And you don't want to you want to minimize any redundancies you need. So I can understand it there. But as a community, I'm like, I feel like there's a side to it where it's like people aren't trying things. Like it's like as soon as a game comes out, a tier list gets brought up and everyone just flocks to it. And instead of like, well, what if we explore this? I don't know. I feel like there's perspective to be had of like, a player's figuring out how to make a character. I think there's more to be said about that. Like,
I also think there's differences too because like I'm referring to like a fighting game.
yeah, that's a good point.
Because there's again, it's like it's a huge amount of skill to like control a certain character, but then there's like weapons.
Yeah,
like, if you're
Pokemon
playing-
too.
Yeah,
Which are sort of like weapons where it's like this Pokemon has 8 moves available to it. So it's very diverse. This one has 2.
yeah.
It is like by facts alone, by paper, it is not going to win this matchup 9 out of 10 times.
But what's crazy is with the Pokemon, the guy who's been winning it doesn't use overused Pokemon. He uses underused Pokemon. And he's been winning.
But what if that's an advantage?
That could be
'Cause
because he knows
people-
that everyone's going to use. the
Yeah.
over-
He knows the people that are using the
It's a predictable
the
thing.
high tier list, and the thing is, people don't know the Pokemon he's using because they're low tier. It's Pokemon they never expect.
Yeah.
So it's moves they don't expect.
He's taking the tier and manipulating it to his benefit.
Yeah, and it's possible, obviously, because he may be one of only a few people that are taking advantage of this list, and he knows people will have this, these certain Pokemon, and they won't use or expect these ones, and
Yeah.
I can take that to an advantage because they'll, every Pokemon has a weakness and a strength, regardless of how weak or strong they are.
Right.
Yeah.
But go back to your weapons point you were saying.
Well, because I was referring to like specifically like Apex, a more recent game. They recently have a tier list now too for the weapons that are available to pick up in that game. And there is a difference. Like there's a shotgun at the very top of the list called the one you were referring,
Peacemaker?
the Peacemaker, and then there's a shotgun at the bottom. I believe it's a shotgun. The one I couldn't pronounce.
That's a
Mozambique?
pistol.
Oh, it's a pistol. Never mind. So then I'll reference it with the Wingman.
Okay.
The Wingman is a higher ranked weapon.
Okay.
And in that pistol, can you name it?
Mozambique.
Mozambique. Is a low ranked, and people don't want to use it because the aiming is terrible. Like it's not there compared to the other one, and that's just something like you just feel it. You're playing the game, and you're just like, it just doesn't feel good. I'm not going to win against someone if I'm using this weapon.
I see. So going down your weapon example, I think that's a good point you bring up. I think of Destiny a lot of times, and people are like the meta of. There's a meta, much like tier lists and meta go kind of. I feel like go hand in hand.
Huge
a lot.
differences in shotguns in that.
Yeah, but I mean, like in terms of weapon types. So
Yeah.
people will say auto rifles are low tier. Don't even bother using an auto rifle. You're gonna lose 9 out of 10 times. Versus a pulse rifle. And I'm like, okay, but I love this auto rifle. In Destiny 1, there was an auto rifle from Trials called Doctrine of Passion? Yeah. No, Doctrine of Passage. And I fucking loved it. I don't know what it was. The look of it, everything. I would have like 4 times the KD of everyone on the other team. I was like, this doesn't look low tier to me. Like,
Yeah.
and I was like, because the part of it with a weapon is I feel like there's a case in which I can use it, a circumstances in which it's good, and the more high tier ones or the meta relevant ones have a larger circle of use that it would have. But if I know my circle and I know how to move myself into situations where I'm more in that situation, I feel like I'll succeed over the other player because of my skill, my personal skill.
But like with people that don't know essentially Destiny, that Doctorate of Passage is not a very easy weapon to obtain.
Well, okay, take that one away. I'm using that one as an example for me,
Right.
but like auto rifles in general, like I've used auto rifles in one. Like in general, just like I'll find the ones I like, but I feel like that never has hindered me in Destiny of like whatever the meta is. Like people will say the meta is
But-
these 3 weapons, and I've used them, and it's like my brain's off.
What if the game changed to a point where like it's extremely competitive? There's like money on the line. Like there's certain weapons that you're not even gonna like think about. You're not even gonna look at them. Like you have a set of weapons you're gonna know. Like for me specifically in Destiny 1, I used Scout Rifle exclusive. Like that was my favorite weapon. Even in PvP, like when I played it against another player, in combat, that was my favorite weapon. It doesn't feel the same in this one. Like I can't.
Sure, but-
like I just cannot do the same kill to death ratio I did before.
I would argue there's a point to be made of what is meta relevant or what is top tier versus what you feel attuned with. Like if I feel like I know this character backwards and forwards or this weapon backwards and forwards versus this is the meta. I don't know really how to play that style. I'm not comfortable. It doesn't
Yeah.
come naturally to me. I'm more likely to lean towards what I know because I feel like I have confidence in like my execution of what I know. And I feel like people undermine that more often than not. They're just like it's like the cliff notes, like just go to this.
Yeah.
Like, and it's nice as a guideline. You brought it up at the very beginning of this topic. It's good as a guideline, but people lean into
Yeah.
it like as a crutch. And I'm
Yeah.
worried that like as a game goes on, it hurts it long term.
And that's something like at least
Like
with
what
the,
Jang was saying.
with a gun list like that, I do tend to lean on that list a lot more. But I think it's not even the fact like because I don't generally go out of my way. Like I have not seen a Destiny tier list for weapons and been like, what's the best weapon?
The
But-
Dados and those guys will like
exactly,
post, yeah,
and
they post them.
but the thing is, like watching them, you get a sense of what a high rank weapon is. They'll be using this gun that takes 10 years to farm, the Luna's Howl or whatever.
Oh yeah.
You know, like these guys are killing people in 2 shots, and you're just, I want that weapon, and you go look into it, and you're just like, I gotta farm forever to get this weapon. You're like, okay, I'll look at the next one down, and then like people are using the Duke 44 as like a
There's
replacement for
options.
that.
But I think that's where on the developer side it's great is when you provide variety and there's no like this beats this beats this beats this. Like make it complex enough where if you have like the latest Smash, like I was saying, if there's 72 characters, who knows? Like what? Like there's so much potential to meta that it could change at a like.
The thing
it's
is
not discovered. Like
with people
Pokemon is an
using-
example as well.
I feel like with people using like the weapons, like the different tiers of the hand cannon specifically, it's not even like that they want to. I feel like it's more of a compromise. Like they can't obtain the best one, they have to use the next tier down. You know, if you can't get that one, because the Duke 44 I think is only available when you do Iron Banner. I'm not too sure.
No, it's available.
okay.
Everywhere. There's a lot of. I mean, Ace of Spades is like going down the Destiny rabbit hole. Ace of Spades is great. Last Word is great. Duke 44 is great. Trust is great. Like there's great options. They're not like bad. And
Yeah.
there's Lunas. It's just Lunas. It's a pinnacle thing. Yeah,
Exactly.
It's a mixture of the
when
two.
you're looking at like the best players, they're only using one type of weapon. They're not like switching out to. They're going to be using that Luna's Howl.
No, but
or-
there's a play style change. Like,
Yeah.
people will change it up. I don't know. I think. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I at least when it comes to like a fighting game, I don't want to lean on that list. I think it's a hindrance.
Okay.
But when it comes to
Shooter?
the shooter, it feels like I naturally lean on that because I do tend to want to be competitive and go into the best route.
Okay.
And I usually with at least when it comes to shooter game, I don't want the gun to be a hindrance. I want my ability to be a hindrance. So I always try to go for the best weapon. And I don't look for a list, but I kind of get a feel for it and I'll think this one's better. And it turns out to be like that is like what people are considering like a higher ranked tier list weapon or something.
Jang, in terms of like different game types, do you feel like you lean or not lean?
I lean
You lean
heavy
most
on
of
the
them?
tier list, but I also like using like in fighting games characters that look cool. So even if they're in the low tier list, if they have a cool super, I'll use it.
Okay.
Just because they look cool. It's stylish.
What about like a game that I felt you were really good in and competitive is Gears of War? Were there weapons in that one? Because Zers, you can switch
Yeah.
out weapons, right? They had
But-
shotguns. They had
They're pretty much the same though.
Yeah.
I think. But no,
Or Halo?
the firing rates are different. So yeah, I still would lean on the best.
you know how you did like there was that the wall bouncing.
Yeah.
Was there a specific shotgun you can only use with the wall bouncing, or any of them?
You could use
worked?
any of them.
Okay.
But the sawed off was you didn't have to aim.
Yeah.
You could just run up to someone as long as
So
they're
it's a
close.
peacemaker
to shoot
is what
it.
you're telling me.
It's a peacemaker, pretty much. Yeah.
I come in peace. Boom.
Yeah. I lean heavy on the tier list.
Well, okay, here's another question. Where do you have a trusted source that is the end all be all for tier lists? Or because the more I've read into it, competitive players will release their own tier list,
Yeah.
and then people will subscribe to one player versus another player. And if there's no one cohesive list, then there is no tier list.
Yeah.
I feel like you're gonna clash at
True.
some point, and like it's just dictating popularity in some ways. Like fighting games more specifically than I would say a shooter. I feel like shooters, you have hard numbers. You like this range, this power, but a character list, you're like, okay, well, I don't know. There's a combination in which you could utilize that character. I don't know. I feel like it doesn't equate the same way. Right.
I don't fall on any specific. Like again, like I don't generally go out of my way to look at
Like,
the tier list.
but when you look for a gun one, when you do look for it, how do you decipher between like these three different people that I look at
Yeah.
that are reputable, and they each have different lists of like what's the best? How do you then decipher? Do you just
I-
try them all out, or
Yeah, like eventually it falls on my own ability to assume what weapon I like personally over,
Okay.
within those lists. But again, like I don't, like today's the only first day I went into a system to look at a tier list for weapons.
But you said you do it with shooters.
No. Like, so I don't go looking for a list. I like generally like a weapon is talked about a lot. Like the Widowmaker.
Where is it talked about though?
Yeah, or the what is it called? The Widowmaker or the
Whisper?
Whisper of the Worm. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, the sniper.
Yeah, the sniper. Like that. I mean, it's just like I've never looked into a list that shows me that weapons is top tier, but people.
you through word of mouth is
Yeah,
where you
through
get it.
word
You
of
don't
word.
get it from
yeah,
a specific.
exactly. And then so what happens is I'll try out that weapon, or sometimes even like I feel like there's a certain shotgun that's used a lot in Destiny PvP. I had to switch my guns. Like the shotgun that's generally used, I think, is in a
Secondary.
is it a secondary or is it a
The
primary?
Aikilos?
Oh, okay. So there's that one. I don't have that. At least on PC, which is the one I've been playing more on. I don't play on the console anymore. Actually, the Destiny. I haven't gotten the Ikilos weapon.
Okay.
So I have in that same slot though. I have what's called the Wish Ender, the Wish
that's a good
Bringer,
one.
which is a shotgun for PvP specifically. Very similar. It has almost the same rate of fire, and I feel like I've gotten very lucky with this one. I've switched it out to where there's another one that's in the primary, and I forget the name of it. That one, I felt like if I clash with someone, I tend to lose that battle.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, I don't like this shotgun.
Okay.
And like it in theory, it shows the stats are even better than what the Wishbringers. But for some reason, maybe it's just that rate of fire. It gets off a little quicker.
You're one with that weapon. That's why.
But yeah, like there's moments where like I'll just start running and just like I'm so confident that I'll shoot someone and they'll die that like I go through with the flow. Like I don't just stop to make sure they're dead. You just continue.
Gankata.
And when I do it with the other gun, I have that hesitation. I'll shoot once and be like, "Did I get him?" And I'll stop. It stops the
messes
flow.
you. Yeah.
It stops the
so
flow.
I agree with that. I feel like knowing how I play is going to dictate more what weapons I'm leaning towards. More so than like this is the best. Like if that first weapon that stops slow,
Yeah.
I don't play that way. I don't naturally play that way. So it's gonna mess me up just like it's like how you're describing. So I think there's something to be said about that.
And I don't feel like word of mouth. I've heard that this Wishbringer is a high tier shotgun. I feel like, especially when you watch streamers, they're using other shotguns. They're not using this one, specifically the Ikilos. That's the one that they bring up a lot or have a lot of.
Jang, what about you when you look?
I read multiple lists. So once I get I see like a lot of lists, I'll be like, okay, I kind of have like a grasp
Collective.
of. Also, like fighting game tournaments, when you see people use a certain character, you're like, oh shit.
What would you do though in like this tournament that I described, where it's like characters you don't normally see?
Then I don't know. I would use the most stylish character.
Okay.
But you know what's crazy is I see I get recommended Smash Brothers. Like this guy will use like a specific character to say this guy's good, and I'm like, damn. Like I don't know. I can't tell who's the best because he uses all these different characters and he's so good with them. I was just like, fuck. So I mean, montage videos and tournaments and multiple top 10 tier lists.
I feel like montage videos though can be like very deceptive.
Oh yeah,
you only show
that's
the
true.
best.
That's
Yeah.
true.
How
He's,
many hours did it take you to get that one?
He loses all of them. He has that one good hit. That's true.
You know?
That's true.
But the thing is, like, when you're referring to like if you were to fall on a list that someone does, I would, if I ever had to fall on someone that made a list, I would probably look into the person that has the most, I don't know, fame, I guess, through like winning, I guess. Obviously, like, you know how there's like when you get to the top, there's some people that are just like, this guy always wins a tournament. That's the guy I'm gonna follow his list. I'm gonna be like, his list ranks a little higher than everyone else's for me. So you know, like if there's like 3 different characters at the top and his says it's this character, I'll probably look into that character a little more than I do the other ones, just because I think like, hey, that guy, he's onto something. I mean, he's number 1, you know.
It's like streamers on Fortnite. When there's an update, they would talk about weapons and layouts. And
Yeah.
I would listen like, oh shit, he knows his shit. And he's like, yeah, the new shotgun is pretty good. Da, 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 da. Like,
Here's a question for you guys. Have you ever had this happen to you or feel like you might have had this thought to someone else? That if you were aware of said tier list or what is good or isn't good, and you saw someone using something that isn't typically considered top tier, do you dismiss their loss to that? Or do you attribute their loss because of that, not them? Or has that happened to you where like someone says like, it wasn't that you were bad. You picked, you know, Pokemon Trainer, or you picked this gun.
Yeah. The specific.
Have you ever been on either end of that before?
From personally, like if I'm doing my own thing, it depends. Like obviously on how I feel. Like if I feel like I did the best I could and I still lost, I'd be like, okay, it was the weapon's fault.
But
like,
no one else is. I'm saying someone else hasn't like faced
But
you.
if I'm judging someone else, like if they lost,
Like if Jang played you in, let's say, Injustice, and you're playing with like Joker, and he's like, you lost. He's like, it's because you picked Joker, not because of how
or I
you
picked
used Joker.
Deathstroke.
Yeah.
I think I have done that.
or vice versa? Like you feel like you've done that?
I've done it. I can't pinpoint.
No,
like
that's fine. I'm just wondering if you've experienced that.
Yeah,
because
I'm
that's
pretty
like
sure.
a thought I had recently of like reading someone's accounts. Like because of this believed tier list, they just dismiss your skill or whatever, or the loss. It's not even, there's no ownership, or no, the win is no ownership,
Yeah.
vice versa. And I'm like, wow, it's interesting psychologically what like you don't even think about like, okay, credit goes to the person or no credit goes to,
Yeah.
I don't know. Jang, has that?
It's happened to me in Monster Hunter.
Oh, the gun lance.
No, well, like if we go into a Rajang fight and the guy's using a longsword, like please, I don't care if you're the best longsword in the world. I really don't care. That fight is not meant for longsword.
He's had it also where he goes in a fight with a gun lance and like the guy.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
hosting the game and the
No,
guy's like switch weapons.
That's a good point. Is when you pick a ranged weapon in a fight like that, as well as longsword. I've had that happen to me where they're like,
You're dismissing them.
"Get out."
Yeah. Yeah, you got dismissed because you had a
Yeah.
gun lance. You know,
Yeah.
they were like, "Hey,
Yeah.
the reason we're
Or
doing
for
bad,
me, it
even
was
though
heavy
I
bow-
carded 3 times, is because you have this shitty ass
For
weapon."
me, it was heavy bowgun. Sorry, not gun lance, but
Yes.
Monster Hunter. I didn't even consider.
That's a good one.
man.
And that does, I mean, again, that has like a word of mouth tier list for me. Like that's, people are like, great sword is one of the highest, gun lance, unfortunately, one of the lowest that I've heard.
To me, I don't know. I get where people might think that, but I always think of it as play style. It's like, do you want to go get in close with and nip at the feet?
Yeah.
Dual blades, go for it.
I think when I'm playing
you're
with
not going to go
friends-
for a tail or like try to go for a knockout with
With a
dual
hammer,
blades,
yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
Or try to go for a tail with a hammer. Like it's play style. Like
Yeah.
learn like the play style, and if it doesn't feel good or if you
But-
can't feel like you can't
I
get in tune. with it.
Rajang though, you can't use a longsword. That just can't happen.
All
know
right,
what? I'm
I need
gonna-
to see
I'm gonna-
four great.
I got
Awesome.
for you on
On
Switch.
Switch, let's
I'm
load it
gonna
up.
I'm gonna do it, dude. I'm a solo Rajan with the longsword, and I'll record it for you.
Okay.
It'll be my my
Well,
tips and tricks.
He's easier on that one.
No,
I was
no,
talking
no,
about
no.
Guild Quest.
No.
One-
You're
level
changing
140.
it. You're just- you're-
Dude,
you're
he's
backtracking.
easy. And
Calm down, Trump.
China.
No, so I think on a casual game, when I'm playing with friends, even when I'm just playing like anything, specifically Monster Hunter, like with anyone, I'll play what I want. I'll play like what I
Like a
but
joke weapon?
If I was like, if I'm making a video where like I'm trying to down
Best
this
time.
guy, yeah, best time. It's the weapon obviously is gonna matter. I'm not going to be using, like, I'm not going to switch into a Palico. Like I'm going to be trying to get the best time. So it's either going to be like a great sword or a hammer, which I feel like are one of the top tiers. But then people have done it with a bow. Like bow is actually one of the fastest
The
things.
thing, though, okay, I don't know if it's a counterpoint, but it's an observation, is that you might not get direct damage out of something lesser, but it might allow you more options for other alternatives towards that same damage, like a sword and shield, barrel bombs for days,
Yep.
and set up for sleep and knockout and this and that, and like you're able to create more openings, but you're not getting those big hits.
But the weapon itself doesn't do the damage.
Yeah, but if you look at it just for the weapon itself, it's not just the weapon itself. It's
Sorry.
okay. How often am I tripping this monster? How often am I knocking it down? How often am I cutting its parts? Like, what can I attack? Like, if I longsword, I can only really do cutting areas. I can't go for a head area or
Yeah.
something. I don't know. I feel like there's more to it than just damage.
You got to aim for that head egg.
I know.
No, I don't know. Like, I still think like when it comes to like like high end tier times, it's still like there's certain weapons that people usually tend to follow.
They're just waiting for the meta to be broke. They're waiting for you to break it.
Longsword, I got it
Joke weapon.
soon.
Cool. That was my topic. I wanted to confront tier lists.
I break those tiers.
That was a top tier topic.
I rip them up.
All right, Vargas, close this out.
My topic is Apex. Apex is a huge game right now.
It's top tier.
Let's. I wanted to speculate on how relevant it can be and what it can do to stay ahead of like the rest of these battle royale games.
I think it can do a lot. I think it's already doing a lot. I was looking at some numbers.
You got the numbers.
So right now, as of today, which is I don't know, like
As of right meow.
a little over a week.
As of you listening to this podcast right now.
This is the number of Fortnite Battle Royale players after certain periods of time. 2 weeks, 10 million players. This is Battle Royale, not when it was just
And this
like,
is Fortnite.
Yeah. Not when it was first launched.
Yeah.
This is its Battle Royale.
Because those
release.
would be shitty numbers.
So 2 weeks, 10 million players. 6 weeks, 20 million. 11 weeks, 30. 16 weeks, 40 million. This is Apex Legends over its course currently.
Of a week.
8 hours, 1 million. 1 day, 2.5 million. 3 days, 10 million. 1 week, 25 million.
And what'd you say the 25 million mark was for, or close to that for Fortnite?
It was between 6 and 11 weeks for
Before it reached.
Fortnite.
Okay.
Now, in some other numbers I want to just quickly throw out is like numbers of articles per month that apparently have been written for several of these games at launch or launch months. Overwatch got about 10,000 articles in its launch month. Fortnite has like peaked around 7,000 a month. PUBG was at 7,000 a month, and within 1 week, Apex has already had 7,000.
The thing is, so I would have to attribute a lot of the success to Apex to Fortnite. I feel like Fortnite opened like this floodgate, and it's allowed like obviously Apex to flow through.
You mean PUBG, right? Or
I think
H1Z1.
Fortnite owes it to
Or
PUBG.
H1Z1.
I think it's just like a bigger, like
I still
Fabergé
attribute it to Fortnite. I think like obviously I
It's
would
the
say
next thing.
PUBG did I guess open the gate.
H1Z1.
no, I think PUBG. Yeah,
PUBG
yeah.
opened the gate. Fortnite had the flow of water like rush through. Like it made the gate bigger, if it makes sense. And then
No, yeah,
Apex-
it's a natural progression.
Yeah.
It's like PUBG had a vibe, and then Fortnite revitalized it, and then we've been so at a point now where it looks like Fortnite has it's not decreasing
Yeah.
in success, but it's kind of like plateaued, some would say, in terms of public interest. It's not always number one anymore. Sea of Thieves has been, and a few others in terms of viewership and streaming and stuff. And then, yeah, like you said, this one coming in next.
I do speculate that a lot of the popularity of Apex is the fact that it's a more mature battle royale as opposed to what Fortnite is, where it does seem like a very childish game. It's very graphics wise, it seems like it's not a very serious game.
I would describe it. I know where you're trying to get at, or you're getting at, but I would describe it more as a polished, not mature. I think this is like Respawn, who's a developer that's been around for Call of Duty, Titanfall. These like the production quality is there. The everything is there. It's released full game. It's not early access or
Yeah.
anything. Fortnite has
Was
been
for a
early
while.
access.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, if we have bugs, early access. Like we're
They
working
dismiss it.
kinks out.
Yeah.
I feel like this is like they waited till they got like a fully defined product, and then they're like,
Which is insane. And like it just nothing was announced about it. Like it was just here's
got
a full
leaked,
fucking
but-
game.
huh?
It got leaked, right? Like a day.
There was a discussion
yeah,
of
like
EA
that weekend.
has a battle royale, and then as it got closer, it was like people are thinking it's Respawn,
Yeah.
and then journalists were like, it's Respawn, and then the conversation. But like I think a big thing in addition to what you're saying is it's marketing, like how it came from there was no build up, no tease. It was they pulled aside a bunch of journalists. They said, try our game during Super Bowl weekend. Get your materials ready. We want to like launch this week. You can embargo is Monday morning, release everything. They brought in a bunch of Twitch streamers and YouTubers. Ninja, Dr. Lupo, Dr. Disrespect, a lot of doctors. Summit 1G, a bunch of people, and they wanted them to be like, okay, we want you to play this game. We want to pay you to sponsor with you, whatever, work with you, collaborate with you, because we know that you're going to get this, the success is going to be driven by that. These people that are battle royale players, influencers, but also they have a repertoire of playing these styles of games and leading the conversation in that way. And I think all of that combined with like a sudden launch of a game,
Yeah.
just like blew the whole house down. I think that was like
The-
floodgates open and
the-
free to play.
They also have the benefit of just like looking back and seeing two very similar games. You have PUBG and Fortnite. What PUBG did right and wrong, what Fortnite did right or wrong.
Yeah.
And one of the huge differences is I feel like PUBG did not take advantage of the streaming community the way Fortnite did. You know, and Apex comes running through the door like immediately, like, you know, like, hey, we know you guys are the ones who make this happen. Like, if Apex stays at the front line of people watching on stream, it'll stay in the front lines of people playing the game. You know, and even now, like, I think it started this week. They're doing a tournament, a streaming tournament.
So I got an email for it. It
Yeah.
was
Ooh,
Twitch.
invitation? Oh.
No, it was just like advertising the event. It
it's
was
like the 12th or the 13th and then the 26th.
I'm gonna let you guys
it
know.
was
I'm
Twitch
in-
Rivals and
I'm in
Apex
that-
Legends.
I'm in that tournament.
It's like Twitch is teaming with Respawn in a challenge. 48 Twitch streamers are competing for a $200,000 prize. Two-part thing. People like Tim the Tatman, Lyric, Summit 1G, Dr. Disrespect are some of the competitors. I
Nice.
think this is much like what you were saying, where it's like, do you separate the competitive players from casual players in a tournament? Like, this is showcasing it, making it like a show of it by taking these people that play it professionally and doing it that way more.
Well, the
so.
thing is, specifically, like you said, Lyric is not by any means, I would say, professional
yeah.
game player. Like,
No, he's a professional game player. He's not a competitive player.
Okay.
He's a professional
Yeah.
gamer.
But I still like, obviously, if I were to compare Lyric to Tim the Tatman, I would say Tim Tatman would win over. Lyric.
I don't know him too well, but okay.
Well,
I know
Tim
he's
Tatman-
popular. I didn't know that he was popular for competitive. I know Dr. Lupo is.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Summit 1G is. They're
Yeah,
known
well,
for
like
their
they're the three like guys that play together are Ninja, Dr. Lupo, and Tim the Tatman.
I see.
Those three are together.
Okay.
And then generally, like, I know Lyric as like he plays whatever he wants,
Yeah.
whenever he wants. He plays all these indie games, so he's not necessarily like
He's like a variety streamer.
focused. Yeah, exactly. He's not focused into one game. So that would be I would consider him a casual first person shooter as opposed to him playing against Tim.
That's
the
why
Tatman.
I'm like, this is more of a show than it is like
Yeah, it's okay,
competitive
so-
versus
yeah,
casual.
you're
But
right.
it mixes a little bit.
No Shroud? Dude.
Well,
I think
think
he's
they
in it.
named
They
a
just
few.
listed a few.
Yeah, I think they listed a few that are guaranteed. Shroud was probably going to be in there. He's just like not a guarantee yet. They haven't like
Possible.
confirmed probably.
But I think that's the competitive. Like they're taking the streamer, utilizing that, like you're saying. They're taking the competitive vibe, which people love a show, they love a tournament, and they're taking a lot of like note from what has come before it. I love the way you can communicate in this game. Like I've seen so like just pointing out like side by side, Fortnite. Hey, there's a drop here. Where are you? Oh, I'm over by this. Where behind it, and you're like trying to figure out where the other team member in your squad. This one you can just be like a middle click on your mouse right there. Just
Yeah.
okay. Don't even have to talk to me.
and it's automatic too. Where from my understanding is if you do it on a weapon, it pings the weapon.
Yeah.
And it says the name.
And you
It
can
says
thank 'em.
everything. Like
And you
I
can
was.
thank 'em. Thank you.
Yeah. I was like, Roger that. I was like, fuck it. This is like, I'm not even, fuck them. This
You
is,
ping an enemy. There's an enemy over there.
yeah.
Yeah.
I fucked that up though. I accidentally pinged the wall or like past the enemy.
So people were saying that like there's a button to ping an enemy regardless of whether you hit them or not, and it's not just the ping system. The ping
Okay.
system you have to hit them directly.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's a button where like no matter where you hit it, it'll say there's an enemy there, whether there is or
Okay.
isn't. So when like obviously someone's super fast and you just saw a glimpse of them in the head, you could just ping that one. and
Enemy
go tell
there
them.
in that direction.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
I'm trying to target like one, like,
Yeah.
I'm used to what's it called? Battlefield, where if I see a target, I can ping it and a dot will be
Yep.
on the radar now.
Yep.
I think the way that they're combating the building complexities of Fortnite, whereas this doesn't have it, is with class abilities. I think that keeps it fresh and people learning how to play the game in different ways because you're not always going to have a Pathfinder available to you. You could learn Pathfinder and be very good at Pathfinder, but if someone else picks them before you, then it's just like, I got to be able to play a different style and learn that. And I feel like they've launched with, 8 characters, I think?
And 2 of them you have to purchase, I think.
2 of them are unlockable or
Unlockable,
something.
yeah.
But I already saw that they've discussed, like, this coming weekend, there's going to be a Valentine's Day event.
Oh my god.
We're beginning our first season, battle passes, new legends.
yeah.
So new characters are already coming out. I think that's a great vibe. I think the battle pass, I mean, that's typical with what Fortnite's set up, where it's like, here's cosmetics, not necessary. You can get loot boxes. I think it's kind of shed the negative vibe behind loot boxes by making it like, you never feel, at least thus far. I mean, it's still early, but I don't feel compelled. Like, I'm like, okay, fine, I'll unlock it by playing. Like,
Yeah.
and the whole point is I want to play. What I do say that I hope they add is, and I might be with the battle pass, is I love that Fortnite had it where even if I don't win, I'm making progress towards a quest. Like, go to this section and find 3 boxes. That was like, I don't even think about winning anymore with Fortnite. I was just focused on, I'm just going to do this.
Right.
And that, like, I only have 2 hours. But I think that plays to the Switch and the portable vibe, which this doesn't have because it's more higher fidelity, higher production value. So it might be hindered by that. I don't know.
Yeah.
How do you think it keeps it going, like beyond
So
this?
something that you said is like
I
this
said a
season,
lot.
like they're doing very similar to what Fortnite did. Is those seasons, which I think is a smart move. Like the way at least Fortnite has done it for my sister is she plays because she knows that if she doesn't play enough, she's not going to complete that season, and like whatever she stops at, everything after that is wasted. Like she's never going to get that. You know, she can't go back to that season again and try it again. So she has to complete that season. She has to play a certain amount, and by having that XP, like she's coming back every day. You know, she's coming back. She's doing a little bit of gaming. So that's something that like I think Apex needs to do. They need to really fine tune like what the amount of gameplay is required to complete a season. You don't want to do too much where like even a streamer barely makes it in time, you know, when they're constantly playing the game 24/7.
Yeah.
That's
You don't
not
want
gonna
it too
boost.
easy too.
Yeah, and you don't want it too easy where, you know, like you get just
Like
one
Diablo,
night you just finish it up.
You finish the whole.
Yeah, I could finish the whole game. I could like max out and get really high gear in one night, you know?
I have a question for you guys. You mentioned this when one of your first experiences. What do you think of the density of the maps? Like, there's 60 players.
The one bad thing about it is, I was telling Vargas about this early when it coming to the car. You can get to the final circle and not. That's your first battle. They need to fix either the player count or
The map size.
map size. Also, like in Fortnite, when a supply drop would drop, it would always be contested. I feel like supply drops don't get contested in this game.
I think that would go hand in hand. If there was more
Yeah.
players, there might be more contesting.
Yeah. So I think they need. There's not a lot of action. It's a good. It's a really good game. There's just not a lot of action unless you drop in a hot zone.
So the game, I think what you're feeling in that the characters feel so good and the guns feel good that I want to engage people, and
The opportunities are
yeah, the opportunities are few and far between. So like, you're just looking for it.
Yeah. So they gotta up the player count. You know what, dude?
I
All I
can see
know
it
is
doing it.
for a release, they did a fantastic. Like, dude, you always hear of a release and like server crashing, like
100%,
not enough
yeah.
people, nothing.
This
none
could go
of that.
as like one of the best launches of a game.
Yeah.
Right.
I 100% think.
But I wonder if that can be allotted to like the fact that they limited like the amount of players in a per map and stuff like that.
That's a good point.
So
Maybe
maybe,
they-
like now they can maybe start expanding it. Hopefully that's a thing that they do. But I do think that's something they have to do. They have to either increase the player count or reduce the map size to get like constant engagement. Because right now I've seen a couple streamers. Well, I saw a streamer. They said like they played 3 games. The third game, this is the first time that they had gone for quite a while without a match. And I mean, I took it as like, okay, that's very rare. It doesn't seem like that. But then like that same night when I talked to you, you were like, that's something I had dealt with the whole time.
There's 2 thoughts I have. One, I think another good thing they've included that they've built upon prior battle royales is the revive system. Even if you've taken out of the game, there's a chance that your team could bring you back, and there's an incentive for your team to strategize for that for a comeback of some kind.
Yeah.
Because I got KO'd. Like someone took me out. I'm on the floor, and then they went for the kill. My teammate circled back, took that guy out.
At the same time, I feel like reviving it's not contested too. Like it should be hard. Like I've been revived too, and we've revived people too, but it's just.
I think the
It has-
difficulty comes in, even though you're back, you have no loot.
That's true.
Because when I came back, the circle was closing. I didn't have time to go back to my loot.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, what good am I?
Yeah.
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 And
Yeah,
so
fists only, dude.
get
I got
KO'd.
fisted, dude. Fuck, that sounded so bad, but I got fucking. they double tag teamed me. I was like stuck in the corner and no weapon.
So it introduced boxing into the
Yes.
Yeah.
fisting.
An idea I have as to attribute like helping what you're saying in terms of density, but also providing more features maybe down the line. They could maybe you brought this up as a complaint. It's squad only now. Right now, three people squads required. You can't play by yourself. They've tried to facilitate that with like easier communication, which great. Like we said, we loved. I think they introduce solo play,
Yes.
smaller map.
Yes.
So if you want high frantic gameplay, it's like battle royale but rumble, like free for all, where it's just like you don't know how this is gonna fucking turn out.
Yes.
And I think that would be cool.
Please.
See, this is where I realize like Fortnite has done a lot of things right. Like they have map selection, not map selection. They have game style selection and
Yes.
free for all. Like you, so when you play, obviously like the
There's squads. There's free play.
Sometimes
there's,
they do like
there's
snipers.
solos.
Sometimes you do
There's-
snipers only, golden guns
Oh,
only.
okay, that's
like-
what it is.
There's solos, there's duos, and there's squads. So you got those three.
And then isn't there a fourth, which is just new?
They have a bottom three. So it's always another three. And this is where it
I
changes.
see.
They can do a gameplay where it's like solos and like you can always use your parachute. You can always use your glider. So you jump off of a cliff, you can glide back down
Okay.
again. So like that's where it increases, and that still counts towards everything. Like all your kills and stuff. It's still ranked.
Was the Thanos thing one of those?
Yeah, the Thanos was one of those.
Okay.
It was like and what's cool with it, like some events have like options. So like sometimes it's snipers only and it's only duos. Like you have to pair up with someone and everyone can only use snipers. The Thanos one had solos or squads where like one of your team members can choose
Okay.
Thanos or you play solo and you can choose Thanos and stuff like that. So it was giving people opportunities to like try this without having to worry, because some people play solo and they're okay with it. Some people are like, I need someone to take bullets from me while I go grab this thing or something.
It both amazes me and baffles me. Like this is going solely off how good the game feels and is with Apex. Like without that, this wouldn't have the appeal I think that it has. Take all these things away, the gameplay feels good, but like Fortnite, you look at what it's done to stay relevant, to stay successful, to stay fresh. They've done the Thanos thing. They've done these crossovers with sports. They've done themed events. Like
The dances. I feel like the dances make up a fucking big.
Does Apex have dances?
No,
No,
but, well,
they
and
have
then,
like exterminate, like fatalities.
All right,
Kind
they're
of.
losing it, dude.
no. What I'm asking is, they have all these things that keep a certain like here's another 10,000. Here's I mean,
Yep.
however many players. The mobile thing is a big thing. I mean, it comes across as a highly graphical game, but I don't know. I could see this like on a Switch or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that maybe phones in the next year, maybe that's a down the road thing. Like once phones get one tier higher in terms of graphical capabilities, they'll go in that. But I'm trying to think of other ways that they don't have these options right now. How do they beat it out or whatever? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have to be transparent, like the Epic Games. Like they won't. They gotta listen. Like the way Epic Games treats like the community is fucking good, dude.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
they
I
let
think-
you know if there's problems.
Okay.
We're fixing it. Da da da. Like they gotta be transparent.
That's a good point. I mean, seeing the point that brought up the battle pass and a few of these other things, I think they're keeping communications like open. We're like, hey, this is how we're doing. This is we want to hear more from you or this or that, and working with.
And so far, timing has been good on their part. Like they, like 1 week into the game, and they're starting to announce, like, "Hey, by the way, guys, if you're into this, we've got more stuff coming." It's not like we have like 2 months worth of this game, like with no announcement. All of a sudden, like, "Hey, here's
Yeah,
So
I hope that
think-
trend continues.
Yeah. So like timing, I think is a really good thing with announcements. You don't want to. You need to keep things fresh. When you start feeling something is going slow, announce something. Do something.
I think something that they're doing that is unique to Battle Royale, it's not unique to games because I think Overwatch has sort of been doing this, is diversity in characters. Like making the primary options, like these are the characters people want to play as, and you're typically like, okay, I want to play as a standard white guy. And that's more often than not the default, like, if I don't know how to play this game, that's the type of character you play.
And what is he?
Huh?
And what is he? What's his special power?
I don't.
There's a joke. The white person's toxic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, caustic. He
Oh.
throws poison gas. He's toxic.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
I don't know a lot of the abilities. Yeah. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
have
just
them
an internet joke.
Gotcha.
educating the kids. Thanks, Jay. I didn't know that. That was a good one. But like some of the, I think what's her name, Bangalore. She's
Bangalore.
a really popular like. If you don't know how to play in terms of like other characters' niche abilities, she's a good go-to. And like getting people to be like, I just want to go for her. I think is cool. Like having her be the mainstay sort of character. And then I'm not saying the other ones aren't, but like when I played as her, I was like, okay, I got assault, I got a smoke grenade. That feels like pretty standard to me. These other ones are. Then I started exploring. I'm like, what is the what's her name?
Chappie?
Wrath. Oh, Chappie. Chappie was the other one. I was like, he looks pretty like generic or not generic, but like standard. Like I feel like his abilities I'm familiar with a lot of other games.
Yeah.
I feel like with Wrath, the hunter guy, and
Pathfinder.
no, not the medic. The fuck. There was. It's
Gibraltar?
yeah, him.
Gibraltar?
Yeah. I forgot his name. I feel like those three are play styles that I'm like, I think I understand what you're doing. I just need to gear myself to like, it's unique to this game.
Just
like the play style.
Don't put the shield up. Cover your legs.
Okay. Oh, I saw your clip. That was good. But like Wrath was really fun once I started learning a little bit of how she plays. Like you can just stealth and then create portals to like, it's like quick hit and runs.
Yeah.
She can make a portal and then you can like run, make it exit portal. You can go through. The enemy can go through too as well. It's cool.
So I
It's
think
a great game.
Yeah.
I don't miss it.
I
I
can't
might
wait
come
to
back. I
hear-
might come back.
Yeah. 3 weeks from now, I'm streaming.
Weekly DLC. Let's go.
Yeah, squad up.
Hey, squads.
Where do you haven't played it much?
If I'm gonna play it, it's gonna be on PS4. So
Hey, crossplay eventually.
Hey, that's a good way to.
eventually,
No, they are making crossplay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So I mean, Sean Layden, did you hear what he said recently? He was like, crossplay. We've learned through working with Epic, it's easier than like there were barriers before, but working with Epic, we've kind of figured out a lot of how to make it easier. All people have to do is just all developers need to do is just ask, and we're making it happen. And Wargroove literally was like, we've asked up until the month of launch.
Oh no.
And you guys said no. You didn't ignore us. You said no. So what? Like I'm calling this. This is
That's
BS. Like,
crazy.
and so there was like some like put on the spot. Like maybe you should have phrased that differently or something. So like I'm wondering how PlayStation will play with this. Do you feel like crossplay will help it more or cross progression if you had to pick one?
cross
this-
progression as in like
If
I
I've
can work on
ranked up.
PC and I can work on PS4 and
Fuck.
progress the same amount. Like everything I've done on PC also leads into
Like my problem with Destiny, where I had to go through.
yeah,
the game all
okay,
over.
yeah. That's what I'm referring to. Okay.
Do you think that is a
I
long?
think crossplay, just bringing people together.
I
'cause
feel
some
like
people like don't have an Xbox. Some people don't have a PC, and they want to play together. I think crossplay will help.
I think like cross completion or cross
Progression.
progression kind of ties in with cross play. Like, what's the point of you playing PC and PS4 if you can't also play like with each other like that?
Yeah, I feel like if I had cross progression,
Yeah,
I wouldn't be as like if you're on PS4, I could be like, okay, well today I'll play a little bit on PS4 and I'm making progress towards the same character and I'll jump on a controller. Whereas if it was cross play, I'm still gonna be I don't know, it's the same thing, you're right.
You know what?
yeah.
Maybe in this
When they do crossplay, we'll play together. The weekly DLC. We'll get them L's.
some champions.
But yeah, I think if it was like divided, I would have to say crossplay would probably be what pushes it over. Being able to
The
play
last
cross-
boss, where you going?
I can already see it. Like one of your like you're gonna be like the lead jumping us down, and I can see Vargas being like, "I'm splitting off. I don't like where you're going."
I always relinquish it. I don't. I'm like, man, fuck.
I wait. Like I played a handful of games before this podcast, and I was like, "Wait, I'm the leader." And like I literally waited till people suggested where they want, and as soon as one person, I was like, "We're going where he said."
You know, we're always going on that. So there's a spaceship that flies.
Yeah.
If you land on it, there's better loot. So,
but you can get martial arts off.
yes,
No
is
damage
Sparta.
on jump on
no fall damage.
drop. Yeah.
No fall damage.
And
you
you
can-
don't have to have a parachute or anything. You just like
Yep.
There's cool zip lines you can just launch
yeah,
up.
yeah.
I don't know the verticality of this map. I think is really cool.
The slide, dude, it just feels very fast and fluid.
I wish one of the cool things could be because I know Titanfall has much more wall running and fast movement, and that's where this kind of got a lot of it. If they brought in one character that maybe he's weaker, but he's fucking mobile as fuck, I would love that.
I feel like map variety
But yeah,
is
like
something they have to have. Like they
each
can't
season
just
maybe
have this
like one new map or something.
Yeah, definitely. And then add it into a rotation where like it's random, or obviously people can choose like, hey, I only want to play on this map or something. But I think like you can't just have
Go ahead. No, finish.
the one map. That was it.
I think another way, I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but it's just idea. What if, in ways of creating more engagement, is instead of just having static loot available, there's PvE, like creatures or characters that are in certain zones, and like they could be hotspots. So people will go to those areas for good loot, but you are risking not getting the drop on versus like 8 other people that are going to the same
Or
spot.
you have to fight all those people for that monster.
And that monster or
Yeah.
monster or whatever the fuck, like Titans.
I
let's
feel
say.
like it's very similar
could
like
be
what
interesting.
Leagues of Legends is.
Oh, yeah?
Where the Leagues of Legends is like a you have lanes.
Yeah.
But like there are monsters on the map that
It's
like
creep?
instead of they're creeps that like go through the lanes, and then there are monsters like in like the middle of the maps, like where you generally the lanes don't go through. And then they have like big monsters. They have like a dragon and like a giant, they call it a baron, I think, but it's like a giant serpent snake, which is like the strongest one to kill. And killing these monsters gives you a buff too. It makes you more powerful.
Okay.
So
Maybe stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of exciting things. I've been wanting to, I was afraid to start playing this because I'm really trying to finish a few things in Destiny. And I'm like, if I just start playing this, I really want to play it
Yeah.
because I love Titanfall. And the gunplay of Titanfall feels good. And I'm like, oh no. It's starting. Sliding into it.
slide into the DMs.
I hope they do well because the thing is, Titanfall 1 and 2 both like are solid games, but they in terms of success, they didn't get it.
Super underrated.
They fucking got fucked by themselves, by EA and by Call of Duty because Call of Duty was coming out, Battlefield was coming out, and then EA was like, launch Titanfall 2 in between the two of them.
Yeah.
I was like, what? I love Titanfall 2.
Yeah, they couldn't hold it or couldn't release it sooner. They released it like very close to Battlefield.
And I gotta say, this you guys mentioned a few points of like where they could do in terms of a community. Looking back at how they treated Titanfall 2, they had like the multiplayer after launch of it, content updates was all free. They had constant newsletters and they were doing a lot of community engagement for Titanfall 2 PvP. They had new modes always being brought in to try and it was good modes. It wasn't just like shit or whatever. And I can't remember a time where they had an issue, but I'm pretty sure it either was resolved quickly or they just didn't have too many issues.
Yeah,
But
they've had good
the way they
games.
handled it, if they apply that here, I think is great. Like it could be really good stuff.
Yeah, I think Apex is in good hands. It's a game company that's had, at least with like its releases, no hiccups, like almost no hiccups, pretty much.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, and they've done a good job with community wise. So I'm looking forward to what Apex can do.
Cool.
Definitely.
Good topic to end this on.
Heck yeah.
With that, what have you guys been up to this week?
Not much since it's only been like 5 days.
Hey, 5 days, 5 days. Thanks, by the way, for doing this.
It's funny too because you mentioned you're like, yeah, I'm gonna buy a game, we're gonna play together. I'm like, all right, he's cool with Thursday, and then come in like the weekend, you're like, I realize Thursday is Thanksgiving, or
Thanksgiving.
Valentine's
What
Day.
year is it?
What year?
Have you ever had
I realized it's Valentine's Day. I'm like, what the heck, dude? You mentioned it in the other.
I
podcast.
totally
Damn, if it
forgot.
was Thanksgiving, I'm like, damn, the year went by fucking quick, dude. Like,
Episode
holy
169.
Holy shit.
I haven't done much,
Dude, February. Oh my God, it's already February.
I know. The year's going by. I'll say that. So you haven't done much.
World of Warcraft still. I'm loving like 2 characters, one on each side right now, on the Alliance and on the Horde side. Because they have with the new expansion, they've released 3 new races essentially.
Okay.
On the Alliance side, they have I'm gonna butcher this. They have the Void Elves. They have the Holy Draenei, or I don't know what they're called.
Drainy?
Draenei is how you pronounce it.
Okay.
But they're like
Those alien blue people?
Lightforged Draenei. So they're like they've been like holified essentially. And then they have the Dark Iron Dwarves.
Okay.
And then on the Horde side, we have Nightborn Elves, and then we have
Necromancer?
we have
I don't know.
Maghar ogres or orcs.
Okay.
And what's that third one? I don't remember the third one.
So you're playing as all these new characters?
No. I'm playing as one specific, the Lightforged Draenei on Alliance, and I'm playing as the Maghar ogres in Horde. And the reason why is because when you level from like 0 to the
Max.
10 levels away from the max,
Okay.
you unlock like a very unique armor piece for that specific race.
Okay.
And it's only available if you level it from 0, because you can buy a
light
boost
boost or
essentially. Yeah, and if you do buy the boost, you won't get that special. So I'm
That's a
doing
good
it with these
incentive.
two. Yeah. And
if
then
they
they're
don't do
about
that
to
to us.
release another race, and that's what everyone's waiting for. Specifically, the Zandalari Trolls, which is what the current expansion is like. As a horde, this is who is helping you out. So eventually, they're going to be like, "Hey, we want to be with you guys," and then so you can create those characters. And then on the Alliance side, it's Kultiran is the name of it, and they both have a druid class, or like you can make them a druid, and they both have very, very unique shape-shifting abilities compared to any other class. And so this is one of the biggest things that people are super looking forward to. So I know that as soon as these classes release, everyone's making new characters. They're all going to be druids, and I'm going to be one of them. So it'll be really cool.
Cool. Sounds fun. Nice. Jang, what about you? What are you about to?
Read a little bit of this. Did I play Apex last week?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got
still
champion, and
retired.
then you retired.
Yeah, I'm still retired from Apex. I started.
How is that book?
Hey, you're
It's
done, dude.
fucking weird. It's very hard to understand because like a lot of stuff happens, but I'm telling you, they're making it into a movie. That first scene, it makes the scene in Christopher Nolan Inception, that fight scene. There's this fight scene that is kind of similar to that where it goes upside down. This, if they do it well, it's gonna
Way
be
better.
it will
Call
do-
Nolan out.
Do fucking circles, dude.
Okay.
Barely cracked into it, but I started the Bloodborne.
Yeah.
Blood level 4.
Let's go. Get them blood slugs. Blood chunks.
Fucking hard, dude.
How many hours on a boss?
So I
I
started.
love watching you on stream when you were getting that fight. There was like,
That was probably the 3-hour mark of that boss. 5 hours. So I spent 5 hours on that boss. Didn't beat it. That was
wait. So I watched you when you did beat it, and
Yes.
it looked so easy.
That was the first try. I did it on my
coming
first
back, right?
coming back. So
coming back from what?
So I streamed on Saturday, a 7-hour stream, and I was stuck on him for 5 hours, and I was okay, I'm done. I'm done with this fucking thing. And like normally I don't like tips, but since it's a blood level 4 run, I really don't know what I'm doing, and I don't know loadouts, and I know the weapons I have are perfect, but they're not upgraded, and I don't have the right equipment. And so like people were telling me combos, and they're telling me, dude, this is towards the end of it. People start coming in. You're supposed to fight this dude with this, and this. I didn't have those 3 items. So I came back on Monday, got the 3 items, beat it on my first try.
It looked so easy when you beat it.
5 hours later.
And like it went to a certain point where I didn't want to farm for like blood vials and blood echo, the currency in the game. So I had no healing. So I was just trying to fight the boss without healing. That's crazy. But so that Twitter video is me not healing. If I had health and I was panicking, I was just throwing Molotovs, and he goes boom. 3 hour mark, and that's when I was like, and the chat was like going crazy. I was like, dude, that's Bloodborne, dude.
Yeah, it's fun watching.
It's fucking rough, dude. I can't believe how hard it is. Like, there's a spot where, like, dude, since you don't have health and you can't level up, there's a spot where I had to climb up a ladder.
Oh
But
yeah,
this guy will
yeah.
hit you.
That
And
was
it
the
kills you.
funniest.
It's a one shot. And I'm like, I can't fucking dodge this dude. It tracks. It's like a whip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a sword. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Ivy's sword from Soul Calibur.
And like, I can't climb this ladder. And I need to progress. This guy would shoot me, and half my health goes. I was just like, fuck. And there's these two dogs chasing you, and you're just like, fuck.
I think Bloodborne's your streaming game.
Oh my god, I'm not calm as a cucumber anymore.
You haven't gone past that ladder yet.
No, I
No, he
did.
got past it. It was funny.
The rage meters.
yeah, he's like, come on, man. Come on.
And what's really like in the back of my mind is the DLC bosses. That's like in the back of my mind. Like, how the fuck am I gonna beat these guys? Like, I can't. I'm gonna get one shot. I gotta play a perfect game. Like,
You should put like a picture of a cucumber that's green.
Pickle Rick.
Peter? No,
Yeah.
it should be like a
pickle Rick.
long sword.
It starts turning red
Yeah,
and
like-
like not calm.
Demon mode.
Yes, Bloodborne. No, it's fresh. It's fucking it. It's a different way to play the game.
Nice. That's
I
cool.
Realize, like, I don't have to worry about like killing things. I could just run.
Yeah.
But I don't have currency. But it's cool. It's challenging. I don't want to do it again. But like, I'm already regretting the decision.
Get through the first time before you say that.
You know what else is challenging? Nine chicken.
Mukbang. Dude, I've been making mukbang videos, and the reason why I like it, editing is so easy, and I fail every single one, and I like the comments coming from the viewers.
What was this week's?
This past week,
Yeah, this was.
Popeyes 9-piece family for 4.
That's what Katie kept saying. She's like, "Oh my god, that could feed a family."
And you're like, yeah, it's a pork
I didn't know it was a family pack. I was just like, he just ordered a lot of food. But
two large sides, 4 biscuits. And like my stomach has shrunk because I have this like strict diet, so I can't eat as much. But it's satisfying.
Is that the only thing you eat that day?
No.
Okay.
But it's satisfying.
It sounds satisfying. Like the way that I've never had Popeyes, and the way that chicken sounded, I was like, "Fuck, that's crispy."
It's good.
And would you say finger licking?
Yeah, you were like,
Have you tried Churches? Oh wow,
Church's is
those
another-
two are good.
Yeah.
Those
Okay.
two, the KFC.
Compared to like churches, I would say yes, definitely.
"Okay, cool." So, do you have a tease for what the next mukbang?
It's
Mukbang is a style of video.
I don't know what it actually means. It means eat. I don't know what. I think it means room. Eat room.
Oh, so it's like you're eating.
Yeah, mukbang. I actually don't know what it means. I mean, putting the two words.
When you say it, I always just think it's the videos where people just eat a large quantity of food and record or stream.
I realized
Will you ever stream it?
maybe. I realized, dude, I didn't know how big of an audience that is in Korea. Like, I was just looking at the YouTube videos. Fuck, it's crazy. People are making living eating. That's crazy. But the next one is it's what I picture mukbang. It's just like Chinese noodles. It's Korean. It's Korean, but they market it as Chinese noodles, but it's like black bean sauce.
That's the next one.
Slurp Town.
Is it going to be what is it, Postmates?
I'm gonna cook loose ramen. Let's see.
I gotta say, your spaghetti one, the way you prepared the food you were cooking was my favorite part of it.
Every
and a
time
half.
he's like, this is too much. This is too much.
Although that's the first time I don't. It might just be me. The first time I've ever seen someone break the noodles in half.
Oh.
I normally just have them all, and I'll cut them after on my own if I want. But
I don't even do that. I pour
Just
it
put it
in,
on.
in a bowl that's not going to fit. Then the part that's in the water will soften
Yeah.
up and it'll eventually
Yeah.
all curl in.
I mean, that's what I'm used to. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was interesting. So I was like, oh, this is entertaining. This is
That
different.
cuts my cooking. Now I don't. I have nothing else to cook.
I just like I can't believe he cut that.
I'm
many
gonna
pieces.
fry an egg.
I thought it was like, you know how when you try to rip a book you can't because I thought he's never gonna break that.
Cool. For me, fucking this Destiny grind. I'm
Yeah,
like,
the last one. You're done with Crucible.
no. I've been saving Crucible for Iron Banner and this week because it's double and triple Valor, and I'm on my last reset, so it should be easy.
If Destiny gets a battle royale, I will try it.
So funny you should say that. I
Uh-oh.
was featured on IGN's Fireteam chat because I asked a question. They're like, send us your questions. We're recording our podcast. And I was like, what would Bungie's answer to Battle Royale be? And like some of their ideas, one of the guy in particular, who's like one of their bigger Apex players right now, I really liked his idea. He's like, you come in as just like a guardian with nothing. You drop in. However you
And
drop
you
in, I
pick
don't
up
know. However,
abilities.
and you pick up guns. In guns, there's roles or mods or whatever. You pick those up as attachments, and so it could be random attachments. So you're like, oh, I came across a outlaw mod, and that just put it on whatever gun. And then you don't have any classes or abilities. So no hunt. Like you could be a hunter person, but you're not gonna get solar, arc, or void until you pick something up that could potentially be that. So then if you come across some like nice loot, it could include solar for a hunter.
Yeah.
So then you could use one of the solar abilities for the hunter at an encounter with someone. Or if you're a Titan, you could do something. And I'm like, that's a cool way of incorporating the abilities while not just outright giving them to everyone out the gate. I'm like, I would like that. Like, I feel like that would be the Destiny vibe, but yeah, I don't know how it would work because like I don't know if you should give them the super, like maybe just leave supers out or make supers be like super hard to find.
You just gotta have Shaq just talking throughout the whole thing.
Oh, 100%. I want complete Shacks and Drifter. Like, all right,
this is
all right.
amazing,
Yeah.
Guardian.
They should be like, you won a Shack. But I could, I mean, I don't know what it's going to turn out, but I would love to see a Destiny's version because their gunplay is great. I love it so much. It's like
I know.
Halo.
Everybody dancing now.
Needlers.
Golden gun.
Yeah.
Hey, Halo Battle Royale.
And then, yeah, I was playing Destiny. I played against a streamer. I didn't even realize I was playing. And then I realized I was playing, and I was like, okay, shit, I got to play good now. And we ended up winning the second game. First game, we got beat. But that was fun. Watching more Star Trek. Everything's just been like the same. Like I'm like, I can't wait to play some new games once I get these. These are literally 2 milestones I want in Destiny right now. There's a bunch of other milestones. I just want these 2 because I've put so much time.
You
in.
haven't been doing like breaking all the shards with the Wish Ender?
No, I even gave up on that. I was doing that at first,
Yeah.
but I was like, you know what? I was like, in order to make more progress towards Crucible and Gambit, but also work on something else, I'll work on my Warlock, who was low level. I was like, all right, now I'm able to make more progress towards the Gambit and Crucible, and now I have a leveled up Warlock. He's never finished the campaign, so I'm still locked out of the Dreaming City with him. I'm like, I'll get to it later. Whatever. So played those. Playing Pokemon. I've got 4 of my 6 Palkias maxed out. I just need to max out these last 2. I'm good to go.
Crazy.
I've named them I've named the team Evangelion, Unit
Ever one.
00, Unit 01, Unit 02.
It's funny.
I like it. And then Star Trek. Watching that. I don't think much else outside of that.
What about the Aladdin trailer you saw? What do you think about that? Huh?
Made me want to rewatch Kazam for the better Genie movie.
You mean Shazam?
Don't even. That's probably even better, and it doesn't even exist.
It's blue. Shazam is the app.
Oh my gosh.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about adaptations. I really like. Maybe it's because Aladdin is one of the ones where Genie and Robin Williams are just like,
Synonymous. He wasn't acting. That was him.
yeah.
Fuck.
Where like, I mean, I can't 100% say what it would feel
Where
like,
he
but if I
says-
heard Mufasa from someone else,
Oh.
or if they did an adaptation of Lion King without even Mufasa, I don't know if I would feel. If I would, but it would bother me. I don't know if I would feel as strongly as I do about Genie.
Well,
Even
in
if
the-
Godfrey did Mufasa.
In this very first trailer that shows Genie for Aladdin, it has him coming out of the the lamp.
Oh yeah. I was
And-
thinking of the picture.
And my first thought, like something I've like every time I see something like that, like for Aladdin, is I hear Robin Williams say
Yes.
10,000
Yeah.
years,
Yep.
and that doesn't happen.
It wasn't even Genie. It was just Will Smith being Will Smith. I was expecting Kevin James to be there. It's like, show me how to hook up.
And he's like, "You don't even know who I am," and he's like, "It's so bad." I'm gonna
This-
watch it. Still gonna watch it.
You know, this is okay. I'm just fucking having a fun time with it. Kevin Hart as Diago. The Rock as the head guard. Just fucking go all out on this. I don't know.
Who's gonna play the cat? The
cat?
The tiger.
Benedict Cumberbatch. and Apu and the carpet is gonna be Andy Serkis.
Yes.
No, Apu is Andy Serkis. Christian Bale is the carpet,
Oh
and he's
my
gonna like lose weight to be the carpet.
He's just gonna be a really thin person. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's gonna be epic.
What do you think about Why the Last Man changing it to Why? They changed the title to Why.
I don't like who they cast, and I didn't think they could cast someone that would just immediately turn me off.
But
And like they pick someone that I'm like, I don't like this.
Who is it?
It's some
It's
guy.
some unknown.
No, I've seen him in something before as like a B character or something. He like
He doesn't look like the guy.
No.
That's for sure.
I think changing the title to "Why" is a huge change because
Really?
it doesn't. Just saying the word "why" doesn't necessarily indicate that they're talking about like XY type of thing.
I think that
Yeah.
leaves it to the show to then be.
I know. I still prefer like "Why the Last Man." Like it flows well, like in a sense that it's a question. Why is he the last man? And it's flowing as in like the actual title. It's why he's the last man. Like this chromosome. You know, like I just thought that was a good title. Like no reason to change it.
Why
but-
change it? Why go out of your way? Yeah. I mean, I get it. I'm just. It
I like
doesn't bother me.
Who they casted as his mom.
Yeah.
That's
the
a
rest of the
fucking-
cast, like I think there was a few other castings that I'm like, I could see her in this show. I could see her in this show. Did they cast the agent yet? Agent.
Yes, they did. I like how she looks. I don't know who she
This
is.
is
Okay,
gonna be a TV show.
Yeah.
They already filmed it.
Yeah.
The pilot.
Damn it.
I'm glad it's a show. It was going to be a movie with Shia LaBeouf
And Lock
at
and
one
Key
point.
finally. God, fucking damn it. Third time's a
Fucking
fucking
golden
when-
age of comic book adaptations.
Is this
are about to
pilot
come
out already or?
No, it's coming.
Yeah, that one
So
has
Lock and Key's coming. Umbrella Academy's out or
Yes.
coming out. And what's the other one?
Doom Patrol.
That one's coming out. The other one that's like the school that's out already. On
Oh,
FX.
Deadly Class.
Deadly Class. That's out. I feel like this is like Image, like some good.
They started casting Millar World.
Really?
Millarverse or whatever it was called.
His other stuff.
Jupiter's Legacy. They started casting. that.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's good because I like his productions getting going, but I don't know if that's one of the ones I want. Like there was a few others that he has cool stories of.
I feel like I need to read more comic books as much as you guys read.
Oh, I stopped reading.
I can't. Yeah.
But the thing is, like, that's how you still have this whole knowledge of these comic books you have read. I've not touched.
you have
like,
anime knowledge though.
Yeah.
I have no one.
Tell
to
me
talk to.
about Xehanort.
Maybe if you get.
And Roxas is
See,
Riku is
That's
Siku.
not the anime I watch.
Is there an anime of Kingdom Hearts?
I mean, I'm sure you could watch someone make a really crappy version of anime that tells you the story.
I don't know. I'd watch it. One of my friends was telling me about JoJo today, and they're like, "Man, it's sad." They watched one or two.
Wait,
episodes.
JoJo?
JoJo's Bizarre
Bizarre.
Adventure.
Dude, all I know is
They're
the
like,
very
"Don't watch
first
the-"
episode is the dumbest thing.
Really, My friend was like, it is the sad, like, don't watch the episode. Like, well, I don't know if they said sad, but they said it is, don't watch the first episode.
It doesn't make any sense. I mean, like, there's obviously
dude.
a coherent like story, but it's so like
I kinda wanna
weird.
watch that
Like you
first
just get
episode.
lost. You're like, it doesn't. What the fuck
Okay.
is? But I see what he's saying when it's a sad story though.
I watched Big Mouth. They had a Valentine's special.
Oh my God.
It was fucking dirty. It was good though. It was good.
So that's the concept, like big mouth, like dirty mouth type of thing.
No, but I don't know why it's Big Mouth, but it's just yeah. I mean, it was sex. Is everything involving or related to sex, and it's Valentine's Day, so it's like people are having Valentines
Yeah.
and hormones are running wild and all these things. This one guy, I don't even want to go into it. It's fucking, it's good. I don't know. The humor's on. Yeah, good week.
Cool.
So
So where can they find you guys?
you can find me at Cujo Prime, all social platforms.
At the Last Bosses everywhere.
You guys can find me on the Fulio 365 on Instagram and then the Fulio everywhere else. And
And where can they find the podcast?
And then they can find the podcast on Twitter at The Weekly DLC. You guys can email us, asktheweeklydlc@gmail.com. And then every other social media. I don't know how the rest of this goes.
What? Turtle? Yeah, if you can, if you enjoy this stuff, leave us a review, comments, anything.
Or don't, like you always do.
Yeah, if they tell us in person,
Don't point out the
scare them
lurkers. Don't
off.
point out the lurkers.
they're scaring off.
They scatter.
But yeah, I appreciate you guys, guys and gals, watching every episode or chiming in for the first time. So until next time,
DLC.
You later.
we gotta do that again. No, I'm not doing that. I want to redo that one. That was
Well, DLC.
you
Later.
again. That wasn't good. What are you doing? You started
Well.
DLC.
You later.